Yes, here, giving thanks to be home again from another episode of Deep Level Corruption. Today, I went to Halfway Tree Court for a trial on offensive weapon and disorderly conduct charge. When I went to this court today at Halfway Tree, night court, I opened my argument with a few that word gives me a problem, but few preliminary questions and requests. Um, First was that the proceeding of the case is recorded. Um, I got no compliance with that. Um, then it was if there's a lawyer on standby that I can ask for legal advice. Um, Got neither, none with there neither. Then I asked for the full disclosure of all the evidence against me in this case, and told the judge I was only given the officer's statements. I asked for the station records of when I was arrested, where I was held for that 2.5 weeks, when I was released. This I almost ain't get no help with either. So here how it went today. During these things that's taking place, I had an incident what happened. I thought I put my phone on silent, but it wasn't, and it rung. So the court officer took it outside, even though on the back of my phone in the case I had my bank card and my debit card and another piece of document that I wanted to ensure that was still in the casing of my phone, because the court officer took it up and went outside with it. And as we're seeing right now at the top of, money management trust is being charged now for fraudulent behaviors, misplacing, misspending of funds. This is by the police officers. They're doing very much legal things nowadays, so they cannot be trusted. So I simply wanted to ensure that my card and my other importance, was still there. And me just saying that to the judge, she took it disrespectful, even though I was very manageable, very respectable to the judge. And that's all I wanted to ensure. And that simple thing she took as an eruption and ordered them to take me to the cells, and they took me downstairs to the cells, which I'm still here trying to figure out and wonder, was I charged for contempt of court? I'm still trying to figure it out, what happened with that. She just took away my freedom, ordered me to be brung to the cell. By what? Was I was Did she give me a contempt of court charge? I don't know. Can a judge just send you to the cells without even stating if you're charged with contempt of court? I don't know. But that's what happened, and I'm giving it to the public. I was down there in the cells for approximately maybe 10 minutes. They searched me, took my belongings, and left me in a cell. Maybe 10 minutes they came back and brung me upstairs to go to court to trial. When I went back now, it resumed by the judge saying she's gonna ask me if voluntarily I will want to see a psychiatrist to get a psychiatric evaluation. I was like, no. That's a question you asked me, Your Honor. I was like, no, Your Honor. Um, I'm not gonna volunteer to have a psychic evaluation done. I'm totally sane. Anyway, she said then it will be done by her remanding me, and they was setting a date for the next hearing at February 19th. So I either misinterpret what she said by if I would voluntarily, if I would volunteer to have a psychic evaluation done. I didn't mean, I think she was meaning she was ordering me. But anyway, when she said voluntarily, would you have a psychic evaluation done? I said, no, I won't volunteer for something like that when I know I'm totally sane. Well, she said, well, I'm going to remind you and order that. I said, I listened to her, put my hands up, and then I spoke. I said, if the court is ordering me, giving me a court order, I'm going to respect the court order. I never been late for a court date. I never missed a court date. I don't have a criminal record. And I have a job. I work, for a doctor in Norbrook. I do gardening. I would lose my job, you know? And she reconsidered, I guess, and allowed me to come home, give thanks, you know, from what they're trying to do. And I know Malcolm knew, Martin knew, Marcus Garvey knew, Sam Sharp knew, but we still got to do what is destined for us to do. Hence, I carry on. After that there, she looked at the prosecutor and said a few things, which before the time when they took me down to the cell and brought me back, me and the prosecutor was speaking on the issue of the full disclosure and what's all that's supposed to be included in the full disclosure. And everything that I got, they're trying to say that was it. I told them no. I told her I didn't get any station book recordings of the dates, I was arrested, the dates, so forth. So she made a statement towards that. She told them that that has to be seen by the prosecutor, photocopied, and something to make sure that it's authentic and law-abiding document that they're bringing to court to say that they have this, which I, for very many reasons, doubt that they have this. I, for very many reasons, doubt that they have a station login of me being held at Central Police Station from the 26th of the 5th, 2025, to the 13th of the 6th, 2025, 2.5 weeks approximately, at that station. I doubt that they have a record of me being there, So she told them this need to be seen and she need to take a copy of it and she need to actually look at it. That's what the judge was telling the prosecutor. So then they let me know I'm to pick up a letter, from Halfway Tree and take it to Bellevue to find out when they can set a date for me to come and do a psychiatric evaluation. Anyhow, it's the court's orders, not my voluntary, prefer the court's orders. So I'll respect the court's orders, I will, and do what they say. But I also informed the courts that I just had a psychiatric evaluation 8 months ago or something. While I was in police custody, they tried to put the mental, issue on me, to discredit me, and to find angles to do what they wanted to do with me, under stating I'm unsound mind. That doctor seen the plan they was doing, and the doctor did his job, and I was totally sane, mentally fine. That what his prognosis was, right? However, I'm going to see a psychiatrist for a psychiatric evaluation based on just me trying to say, can I check my phone to make sure my debit card and my other importance is still there? Not being able to trust any officers nowadays. That's all it is. She took my phone out because it was ringing. I understood it had to come out the courtroom, but when it came back, all I wanted to ensure that my belongings were still in the casing of my phone. I was sent to the cell. Don't know if I was given a contempt of court charge. This I don't know, but my rights was just taken, sent to the cell, right? Put in a cell for 10 minutes, then brought back out. And as I told you, the followings, that's how it went. Puzzling. I'm no expert within the law. I don't know. That's why I always share with social media, seeking help, seeking advice, trying to expose what is corruption and what is wrong from what is law and righteous doings, you know? Um, Give Father thanks. I mean, I'm home again. I could have been in pens until February 19th. They said was my next case. She did order that I be, you know, remanded, and had given a psychiatric evaluation, and the next date was February 19th. If I didn't speak up and ask, stating the facts, Your Honor, I never missed a court date. I never been late for a court date. I have no criminal record, none whatsoever, and I have a job. I work for a doctor in the Norbrook area. I would lose my job, and all of this behind me not volunteering. She said, "Oh no," and made it seems to me, to my interpretation, that it was a court order. So I said, "No, if it was a court order, I'm gonna respect the court's order and go where the court ordered me to go." And that's how she changed what she originally said, allowed me to come home, to go pick up the letter tomorrow, to go down to Bellevue. And I'm sure y'all see the picture. I'm just holding on to Father's faith and strength, man. I'm burnt out, man. A lot of stressing for nothing. A lot of spending that I can't afford. You know, a burden on me, on my life. A burden, more than a burden, going through torture for these 11 years. And the level of corruption, as I shown in a couple of my videos I posted, is even in the Supreme Court. The level of influence this corrupt, drug smuggling criminal organization have extends to even in the Supreme Court, in the Supreme Court building. I can't say no more. I'm home, y'all. OTR to report that no, they didn't get through what they was planning to do. I'm still home, and I'll do this every time I go to court, so people could know what's going on with me.